Hola. Welcome to the Return of the Matriarch Podcast. Waiting on my co host, Miss Lotus. Today we're going to be talking about mindset and how it's tested um, in the real world as you are going along on your healing and self love journey, and how even your healing um, is tested, and how do you pass those tests and prove to yourself that you're truly healed and have moved past the traumas that once bound you. So looking forward to this talk. I hope all is well with everybody. Just bear with us. We about to get it on and popping. I hope everybody has been having an amazing week thus far, um, productive and fruitful. It's a lot going on in the earth right now. Um, somewhat of a judgment of sorts, where everybody is getting what they deserve. The energy that you put out, that's the energy that you're going to attract. We reap what we sow. Let us say is up in the Big Apple. So y'all bear with us. We're gonna be patient with the Empress. She be dropping them gems. If you guys haven't checked out the website, her website, sayyourlotus.com, where you can see. Hey, how are you? I was just talking about you.
Yes. Can
How
you
long?
unmute? I am. Perfect.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Amazing. Yes. Okay. This is working. The Wi-Fi was we were having some issues. Okay. I think we're doing. I think we're it. I think we're on. I think we're good. Hi.
Indeed. Hey there. So I was telling the people about your website. So, if you want to chime in and just speak about who you are, what you bring into the table, we talking about the mindset and helping the people get their mind right so that they can attract everything that they deserve this lifetime.
Yes. So my website has. You do have to put the www in front of it. So it's just www.sayalotus.com. I'm working on fixing that because there's something weird with my DNS, but that's besides the point. And on the site, I have all of my offers. The first thing you're going to see on there is the School of Somatic Alchemy. That is my school monthly tuition. Every my life's work is in there, and it just continues to grow. The library evolves as I do, and also as the work does. And the more people that are in there, the more stuff will be put in there. And
Yes.
then also, I have all of my different readings on there. You can do human design readings. I have tarot readings. Um, breathwork sessions that you can do one-on-one with me, and of course my one-on-one 8-week guidance. So that would be like me and you, 8 weeks, going off and doing basically a lot of the things that we do in the School of Somatic Alchemy, but you would get one-on-one guidance from me.
Indeed, that's what's up. So if you're ready to get on your healing and self-love journey, Saya is definitely a great source and foundation for you to begin that with. If you have any questions, just need guidance. When you talk about healing, that's so foreign to us. Self-love is so foreign to us because we've been told to suffer, that love is pain, and that the more you suffer, the more you're going to have in life, when that's totally the opposite of how this reality works. So self-love is the greatest love of all. It's the highest vibration, and so it's all about you now. You know what I'm saying? So y'all holler back at Lotus.com. Yep. Now today, we're talking about the mindset, and how once you have been on your healing and self-love journey, and you've been in solitude for so long and just away from the world, healing and focusing on yourself, and now it's time to go back into the real world, and how you actually, for myself, I had to get acclimated, because I was at a point to where I didn't trust anybody. And so I'm learning how to trust again. I'm learning how to use my discernment and make sure that I'm choosing the right people to allow into my energy, even people that I decide to help and assist. I'm being very discerning with that,
Yeah.
and just really protecting my energy. And so I've had to really, it has taken a lot for me to get reacclimated. And I'm still getting reacclimated, but I feel a lot less anxious, I guess. And so it's more of a free flow, and I'm just going with the flow. How was it for you, after you had taken your self love and healing hiatus away from the world, and then now you're back on, you're teaching and preaching the truth, and opening yourself up, to people. How was it for you, your transition?
It it really starts with that desire, like a singular journey. And even in my own human design, this is present, but I think that it's important for everyone, regardless of their human design, to recognize that this type of healing is it's a solitude journey. Like, this is something that you are going to take by yourself, but you'll take every step by yourself, but you're never alone. And so taking each one of those steps and being able to go forward in that journey, even when it gets tough, even when it's hard, even when you're not really sure if anything's actually working, that is the most important time to stick with it. Because when it gets challenging, the way that you move through that, instead of quitting or um instead of giving up, is the way to move forward in that. And that test of resilience was really what I had to work with. And when I really first started, it was really hard. I did not want to do that type of work. I did not want to stick with it. And there was many times where I just said, fuck it, we ball, and totally went off, like totally went off of the path and anything that I actually wanted. And so recognizing that every time I veered off and every time I went off the path, that's when the challenges got overbearing. They got to the point where I was no longer able to see a way forward. And in your healing journey, when you stick to the path, it's going to get challenging, like, no matter what. But I had to I had to figure out how to get through those trials and errors. And the
Mhm.
only way that I was able to do that was I had to get past the mindset, because my mind was going to do whatever it was going to do. It was programmed in a very specific way to not want to do that hard work. And
Mhm.
so training myself came with being able to do it on a body based level, and like bypassing my mind and actually sinking into the uh sinking into the body and being able to do it through my somatic journey instead of just trying to make the mindset make sense.
So when you say healing through your body, because just to summarize, and I bear witness that when you stay on your self love and healing journey, you always have options, even though the path is hard. But when you get off path, you're going to run into a brick wall, and you're just not going to have any forward movement. And
Yeah.
so, yes. And so when you talk about healing through your body, because I mean it's a battle in the mind, when you're on this self-love and healing journey, you're developing faith and belief in yourself. You're developing faith and belief in a higher power, because you're usually at your lowest point when it comes to material things. You have to give up everything of the world per se, and it's really just like being born again. And
Yeah.
so when you talk about your somatic healing, because I did it through my diet. And so that's what helped me to, have a clear mind. And I'm learning about somatics though, and the breathing. And I had tapped in with that, but you're at an expert level. So how did that, and just a few examples of of what was actually happening when you had to tap into that magic or that somatic healing.
Yeah. I think the biggest shift for me was when I got out of the life and was no longer being trafficked. It really hit me that I was so trained to think a certain way, act a certain way, be a certain way. And so I couldn't really trust my mindset to get me past where I needed to go for my healing. And I tried. I tried podcasts, I read books, I studied quantum physics, like I did all of these things, affirmations, and not saying that those things aren't helpful, because at one level they are, but there gets to a point where that kind of stuff stops working because you've expanded yourself back, or past what mindset and manifestation and like affirmations can do for you. And so I actually stumbled upon it randomly. And I think that life, when you're off, they call it off octave in fourth way, but when you're off octave and you're going on that side quest, you start to realize that there something is drawing you back. You always come back to the wheel. And sometimes those side quests are necessary. And so the side quest for me was randomly showing up to a breath work uh, online $11 like breathwork group journey and being totally transformed just by that specific breathing pattern. And so that was what started my research, switching from like mindset, quantum physics, and like quantum mechanics, all the way to studying the body and the nervous system, and why did I feel more transformation in that 45 minutes of breathing than I had in the 2.5 years of studying mindset, affirmations, quantum, all that stuff. And so that's what kind of led me down that path, and made me do the deep dive, to get to that expert level, and just being able to do trainings and really deeply understand the body, um, and be able to also understand the disconnection that women experience because of our lives and the things that we have experienced.
Indeed. So going within, so you hear, you went outside yourself and you did all the research outside of yourself, but once you tap back in with self, that
Yes.
was, and so I could say it was the same for me because I was on a beach for 2 years living in a tent, and it was what do they call it? Primitive camping, where no running water, no electricity. Everything is me gathering wood, making fire to cook my food, making fire to warm my water, washing my clothes in the beach. And so, with that reality, I don't want to say I was forced because I could have chose to do other things, but I accepted and understood that it was time for me to sit with myself.
Yeah.
And that's something that I see a lot of people, they, excuse me, they choose to be distracted because sitting with yourself and when nothing's going on but what you've been through and you're having to look at that, it can be hard sometimes. So, with the somatic breathing, how does that help um, people to get through those painful memories and triggers of past traumas?
Yeah, such a great question because I think there's a lot of like misconceptions about like, okay, well, I'm just breathing. And it's like, well, actually, what's happening on a biological level is when you are consciously doing the specific breath pattern, and there's many of them, but I have a few that I really like to use. When you're using these specific breath patterns, you're actually putting yourself in a hyperventilative state. You are actually activating yourself just like if you were triggered, just like if you were experiencing something traumatizing. And that sounds counterproductive until you look at what is actually happening on the level of the body. When you consciously and purposely put yourself in a hyperventilative state, you are but you're actually in a safe space where you're either in your own vibe or you're consciously putting yourself through that. What you're doing is
Yes.
creating a bridge between your unconscious and your conscious. So I'm consciously putting myself in a position that normally my body would feel unsafe in, but because I'm
Mhm.
actually safe in my feeling of unsafety, the body starts to reprogram and re-regulate itself to stop reacting so quickly and so drastically to external triggers. So not only do you stop feeling like random spikes or things that would normally activate or trigger you literally just stop having a physical reaction, and you stop feeling like you're constantly on this roller coaster. And even when the spike comes, you know that you have tools to help you to come back down a lot smoother instead of like that freaking plummet that we experience after a big trauma or a big trigger. So being able to have that those breath patterns and also those other somatic tools keeps you from the roller coaster crashes on the highs and the lows. And eventually over time your nervous system stops reacting. It has a higher threshold to um, triggers. And so then not only are you no longer reacting, but when you do, you don't come down and crash as hard either.
Because now you're actually in control because you're choosing to heal. So this is actually healing and not just going through the motion of listening to a podcast and trying to apply, something that may fit. Now you're in control and when you get overwhelmed or anxious, now you can do some breathing and calm yourself down. Or, like Celia says in our Bear Witness, stuff just won't even bother you because now you're healing. So, what are some of the other somatic practices that people can utilize to regain control of their emotions?
Yeah.
Because I understand that, this healing journey, a big portion of it is self control and being able to control your emotions when people, places, or things on the outside of you may trigger you to put yourself in a compromising situation. So now you have these tools that you can utilize. And so, what are some of the other tools aside from the breathing?
Yes. I love tapping. They call it emotional freedom technique. I love tapping so much because once you learn how to use EFT for yourself, like specifically for you, then you're able to, instead of just using affirmations just to like say uh different things, you're actually tapping
Right.
on different meridians of your body, and you're bringing those affirmations to and tapping them with the different body parts, so you're literally connecting the two of them together, which is really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So EFT is amazing. And I really, if you've never done EFT, I recommend doing it with somebody. I do those in my somatic alchemy sessions, because if you just kind of like follow generic ones or like a YouTube one, I mean, it's not terrible. You can totally do it. But in a session with me, and what I love so much about getting specific with the affirmations is you're not just generalizing them. We're really looking at the arc of like, what are you currently experiencing? What is going on with you? And instead of like digging up all your history, I don't need to do all that. What we need to do is we need to work with the emotion that you're feeling right now. And I need to show you how to talk yourself down and also get your body on board with the words that are coming out of your mouth. And that's another way to create that bridge, because I'm all about the bridge. 95% of our decisions are made completely unconsciously. And if you can't trust your unconscious to be on your side, i.e., you're getting triggered all the time, you don't have any way to keep yourself off of the roller coaster, you are just doing generic random things, you can't trust your unconscious because it's going to make these random decisions and you're not even going to realize that it's happening. So if we can make a bridge between that unconscious and the conscious, you can actually start seeing, oh, here's a feeling that's coming up. I recognize this feeling. Instead of doing the behavior that I don't want to do anymore, I can actually stop myself before I do that thing. I can actually keep myself from re-traumatizing or going back into a specific pattern, so that I can actually rewire how my reaction is and the behavior that I exhibit based on how I feel. Because your feelings are not your frequency. Your feelings are these things that come up and kind of tell you where you're at on a physical level or emotional level.
Mm-hmm.
Your frequency is something that is the background to who you are. And as I was attuning myself to self love, to joy, to these higher frequencies, the ones that I really wanted to be aligned to, I noticed that the it didn't bother me anymore if I felt angry, if I felt sad, because it's not about getting rid of your feelings. That's about killing the ego. You need the ego. There's
Right.
nothing that you have that you don't need.
That's
But
right.
it's like the way that you work with it is
Mm-hmm.
how it's going to show up for you best.
Indeed. So you say 95% of the decisions that we make are subconscious. So what does that mean? And what is the subconscious?
Sub means below, conscious means mind. So we're talking about being below the mind. The thing that is below the mind is the body. So the subconscious is the part of your brain and the part of your mind. The mind is more of like a frequency that is not just in here but is also out here. And the subconscious is that connection between the body and the physical reality. So a lot of people think that your conscious or your mind is what or your brain really is what receives the information first. That is not how this works. Your subconscious is responsible for interpreting the data that your field is collecting. You have a 3 to 6 foot aura around you that is a collector of information, your body is what is getting that info first. So the
Mm-hmm.
subconscious is that connection between the physical body and the different frequencies or information that is being received by your aura, which is 3 to 6 feet outside of you. When you have when this is not programmed correct, well, when this is not programmed in a way that is beneficial to you, and you're getting triggered by random things that are you're experiencing in your
Mm-hmm.
vicinity, it's kind of like I hate to use this example, but I think it's the one that people are going to resonate with the most. It's like when a man comes in, if you've been harmed by them, and a man comes into your vicinity, and your heart starts race. They're not doing anything. They're literally just existing, right? They're
Right.
just existing in their world, but your heart starts racing, your palms start sweating, you start looking around for an escape. It's like that reaction to someone literally just existing is not the type of reaction that's going to help you, because what if that man is literally just passing by, but
Mm-hmm.
your body is taking in the information and it's saying, this is a threat, this is a threat, when literally there's just somebody else existing outside of you. And so being able to reprogram this subconscious reaction, because this is not something that you're actively thinking, oh, he's going to hurt me. It's like your body is like doing all of these physiological things, getting you ready for defense, getting you ready for, like, bro, sometimes it's not even that serious, but your subconscious thinks that it is because of past experiences. But not every experience is this experience. And if you keep doing things that are based off of previous experiences, you're going to always be triggered. At that point, it's just going
Yeah.
to keep your body's just going to keep flaring up this same response over and
Mm.
over again.
Right. So is the subconscious the aura or is it the spirit?
It's kind of all of it. It's the physical vessel, this physical body, the aura around, and also the soul. Well, actually, I would probably say that the soul is more like the super conscious, which is that exists outside of our aura, outside of our body. So we have like the super conscious, which is like you could say like collective consciousness, God, universe, ether, like all of those things would be like super conscious. Then your subconscious is more of your aura, your auric field, that 3 to 6 feet of energy that's around you at all times, and your actual physical vessel. Because your physical vessel is the actual thing that experiences this reality. Your
Right.
your soul does not experience this reality first. Your body does. And your soul is basically like watching your body moving through this experience. But this physical vessel is the thing that is experiencing your life. And so
Right.
when you connect with your body, your subconscious, the thing that is below the mind, then that is where you're actually able to stop having these triggered responses and these big reactions.
Right. So I'm just trying to picture it in my mind. So how does the somatic healing reconnect or how does it heal? Because I've heard about having holes in your aura. And so, does that come from physical abuse that we experience in the flesh and then it creates this, or fragmented soul per se? Have you heard of that before?
I've heard of a fragmented soul. I haven't heard of the holes in the aura though, because what from my understanding, the aura is like a torus field. The earth has a torus field because earth is three-dimensional, right? And we also have our own torus field. The torus field starts at the heart because we have 3 chakras above and 3 chakras below, and this energy goes up through our upper chakras, out and around and then up through the genitals and back to the heart. So this is like, that is your aura. This, it's an energetic field that is
Okay.
consistently recycling.
Okay.
But the soul fragments are, in my thought process, are more like parts and pieces of self, the real self, not physical self, but the real
Mhm.
self, that have been rejected or have been like, oh, I don't want to look at that aspect of myself. Because what we have to realize is we are fully dark and fully light.
That's
There's nobody that's like all light, right? Even Jesus flipped tables, okay? Like so like, stop with this, like, oh, us all ascended masters like never had any darkness to yes, they
right.
did. Actually,
Right.
they are the best alchemists, because they
Yes.
are the ones who use that dark energy and literally
Hmm.
transmuted it into their own enlightenment, and then
Indeed.
went around and tried to teach people how to do this. That's what I love about somatic healing, is because, we think about these ascended masters. What did they have to do? Jesus came down from heaven, whatever the story goes, that God was like, "Oh, I need Jesus to come and be a human." Why would that be? Well, because the only way that your soul, your higher self, your true self would be able to even understand the duality of existence, it would
Hmm.
need to be human. And we are fully human and fully divine. We are fully dark and fully light. So the rejection of this darkness, we are all capable of the terrible things that we hate about this world.
Hmm.
Just because some
Indeed.
people don't do them, just because
Right.
you don't do them doesn't mean you're not capable. I
Right.
could, I say this all the time. I'm no serial killer. Like, that's not my jam, but like, I could be. Like,
Right. It's
it would be,
real.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, like,
Hmm.
just because I'm not choosing to go and do that doesn't mean that I'm
Hmm.
not capable. And I
Right.
think that that's the first step to admitting that, like, there's something in there that can be transmuted, that can be shifted and
Hmm.
alchemized. But you can't do that unless you realize, like, this body is three-dimensional. This is the lowest plane that we can get. And we have to
It
come
is.
back into this, in order to ascend. You cannot ascend until you descend. Further up, ascension is actually not up, like physically up, it's further in, it's
Hmm.
internal. It's a reconnection with this
Yeah.
physical vessel that experiences it. That's why Jesus had to die on the cross and all that stuff. Because if he didn't, he couldn't be fully transformed. He became the symbol of the ultimate alchemy, the ultimate sacrifice of what it means to connect with this full physical form and then be ascended and turn into an ascended master.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's awesome. You broke it down metaphysically. That's
No,
what's up.
that's where I started. Quantum physics and quantum mechanics is where my journey started. So, like, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with the science, and that's the
Hmm.
fun thing. Like, science and spirituality are not separate.
Right.
They're not separate. They're literally the same thing. Once you understand the math and the mechanics of spirituality, it's
Hmm.
literally easy as figuring out how to do algebra. Like, the
Yeah,
math
everything
all
is math.
math.
The numbers don't lie. That's right. And when you
Yes.
say that, I've studied the scriptures in Hebrew. And
Mm.
when you go into the origin of the word science, it actually means consciousness. So science is consciousness, which is pretty
Boom.
awesome.
Wow, I did not know that. That's fucking hot. Exactly. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you so much for that.
Definitely.
'Cause that's so
For
cool.
sure.
And it's so true.
Yes. So ultimately, this self love and healing journey is about balancing the light and the dark, your light and your dark energy.
Yes. Exactly. You have to use both. And you can't be afraid of the darkness within you, because the more that when we talk about soul fragments, like,
Mhm.
the more you push away and reject these dark aspects of yourself, the more that they are going to come back and haunt you. The reason for me that it took me so long to get out of the shit show that I was existing in my life was because I refused to believe that that like I could be like a bad person, or that I could do things that were sinful or bad or whatever. And I want my people pleasing tendencies came from this desire to be seen as good, seen as worthy, seen as somebody who like could never harm or do no wrong. And the problem with that mindset was that unfortunately, I did hurt people. I did
Yeah.
fuck up. I did do those things. But in my head, I'm sitting here like, no, 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 I'm a good person. And I can be a good person and still make mistakes. I can be a good person and still cause harm, because uh intention doesn't equal impact. So just because I don't intend to hurt somebody doesn't mean that the impact was not harmful. And it doesn't
Right.
make me a bad person. It makes the thing that I did harmful. How can I
Right.
remedy this without basically telling myself and throwing a pity party of, oh, I'm so terrible. I'm so horrible. No one loves me. Shut up. Shut up. No. That's pity party shit, and we don't do that around here. That's the other thing about like the way that I guide is like
Yes.
there no pity parties, okay?
That's right.
Bad
That's right.
shit is going to happen. Bad shit's gonna happen. I
Yes.
have, and as somebody who has literally been through the shit, like nobody has more compassion for people that are going through a hard time than I do, because I've been through a hard time.
Yes.
But in my sessions and like in from the way that I guide, I can give you that space and I can hold it, baby. I'll hold it with you, but
Yeah.
we're going to figure
Mhm.
out how to move forward from this, because
Yes.
that's not your
Accountability.
natural state is not pity.
That's right. Accountability. We're more than conquerors. And so self acceptance is so important too. Like you said, you got to accept all of you. And so for me, one of the things that I did to, I guess, make peace with people that I have hurt knowingly is I went back and apologized to everybody that I knew or was conscious of that I hurt, so that I could have a peace of mind. And sometimes that's all it takes is to clear that karma. And so you don't be in this spiritual jail, or this mental jail, I should say, just regurgitating things that you've done. Just apologize, and humility, so with it just, with this healing and self-love journey, you are getting back to the light within, because of course you have to go within to heal. Um, so I'm just so grateful for you, and I'm sure the people are too. We've been definitely raising some awareness here on social media. So I do appreciate your time. Um, if you don't have, any questions or comments, we can shut it down. But I would like for you to definitely give the people some words of wisdom. And if we can close it with the prayer, I know we didn't open with a prayer, but it's all good, stress free.
Yes, yes. I love that you say that, because literally like why that right there is something that I really value in you, and also like in my own journey of like, why am I freaking out about something that I can't change? Can we go back to the beginning and say fuck it, let's start over? No. So why am I going to raise my fucking blood pressure? But a previous version of me would have flipped out about that, right? Or I would
Hmm.
have been like so embarrassed or like upset or whatever. This
Right.
is like in real time something
Hmm.
that, like a benefit that I get from somatic healing is like the things that used to fucking send me for a tailspin and totally like take me out of my element don't even really bother me anymore. And not
Right.
because they're not something to think about. Like, I'm just gonna, next time, I'm gonna be conscious of like, oh, I always open with a prayer. I really would like to do that next time. And then it doesn't have
Hmm.
to be, move the fuck on. And the thing about it is, you start to realize that like the things in life is not really a big deal. It's not. This is not a big deal. It feels like a big deal because we have this aspect of our ego that makes us feel like it's a big deal. But in
Right.
reality, this is supposed to be fun. We're supposed to
Yes.
have fun. Like the
Yes.
whole holy
Yes.
point is to have fun. The whole reason that we have a physical vessel that we can fuck around and find out all day is to just have fun with it. There's
Yes. Yes.
no other purpose. And so if
Indeed.
we take things too seriously, healing is serious. Self-love is like all this stuff is serious, but it's not so
Yeah.
serious that it needs to like take over your life. There is a way to do this and have fun with it. And that's what I
Yes.
really love about the School of Somatic Alchemy, because we like to have fun in there. You've seen my tarot readings. Like I'm cracking
It's a
jokes.
vibe.
Yes,
Definitely.
on our calls, I'm in there. We're joking, we're laughing. Laughing is learning, and being able
Yes.
to actually like bring some levity to this process that feels
Hmm.
so dark and so heavy is not only my gift, but also
Yeah.
something that I'm really passionate about. Like, this is not that fucking serious. Like, let's
Yeah.
have fun. Let's heal
Yeah.
some, and let's just make this something fun.
Yeah.
Let's do
Yes.
it. You
It's
know.
true. Yes. And I've been, doing this, I've been being intentional about living, not just existing. Like I'm enjoying myself because I was the same way. I was going ham and turkey with the music. I'm posting 2, 3, 4 times a day. And then I took that trip to nature and she like, baby, slow down. You got time. And so I haven't really had the energy to do what I was doing before I went on this trip. And I had to, it's okay. You got time. So I feel you. Just, hey, slow down, take your time. One thing we do have is time. You got plenty of time. And I can't wait for you to break that down. I know you was talking about how magical time is and how we can control it. We can turn it off. We can slow it down, speed it up, take it back, move it forward, whatever we want to do.
I feel
So
chilled.
I'm
I'm
looking
so
forward
excited.
to it.
Yeah, sorry. That's not free content. If you want to learn
Yeah.
about that, you got to get in the school, baby, because
Thank
like that
you.
that's high knowledge. That's high magic. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's a lot more than I could break down on a podcast like this. So,
Indeed.
but really being
Indeed.
able to be intentional, like I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Me
It's
too.
literally the best. So
Me
yes,
too.
I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped.
Me too. So y'all make sure y'all tap in with Say a Lotus, sayalotus.com. Definitely check out the school. Hey, she's sharing some ancient knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I'll be so intrigued every time we speak. And I'm truly grateful. Thank you so much, Saya.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you and love doing these talks with you always. Like just yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you for seeing me.
For
As a
sure.
projector, thank you for
I
seeing
see
me.
you. I see you. That's what's up. You want to close us out with a prayer?
Yes, please. Okay,
Yeah.
so we will start how we should have started with 3 deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, and out through the mouth. Last one, make some sound if you want to. Thank you so much to Spirit for allowing my Wi-Fi to work. So much to the ethers, to all of the great minds that came together to make this possible, to make this beautiful conversation and the ability to share knowledge over airwaves possible. Thank you so much. Thank you to electricity. Thank you to the 5G, even though people are weird about it. I love it. So
I love
grateful. Possible
it.
without it. Thank you so much for what makes this all possible. Thank you for Shunda's magic, her ability to really bring out all of the guidance in me. Thank you for allowing me to speak all of this clearly. Thank you for the 4 directions, north, south, east, west, for guiding us through and navigating us. Thank you to the cicadas that are making their little noise right now. We're so
Yeah.
grateful for their transformation, how they leave their skin behind as remnants of who they once were. Thank you to our animal totems, our guides and ancestors, healed and whole, that were with us today. And thank you to our Taurus fields, to our aura, for doing its job, for giving us the signals, for interpreting the information and protecting us. And may it continue to grow stronger. May it amplify our being. And may everyone who sees this here on live or even in the replay, may this reach exactly who it is meant to. Ashe, aho.
Ashe. That's what's up. Thank you so much. See y'all next time. Return to the Matriarch.
Thank you. Thanks, TikTok.